So, guys, Longhorns and Crimson Tide fans, it is official. Both of our teams will be meeting in the Rose Bowl in Pasadena for the national championship game. And to say that I'm excited is downgrading a little bit. But since Texas kicked that field goal and made it, and since the bowl selection show has been on and everyone has seen that Texas will face Alabama, I've been getting a lot of messages, not just on YouTube, but around personal life and everything, telling me that, oh, we'll see now, because last year, if you've been following my videos for the past couple years, especially since last year, of course we know what happened with Texas and OU last year, and Texas Tech. It was a three-way tie. And I made a whole bunch of videos about the BCS. I was mad, still mad about that till this day. Even though we've got in, I'm still, that's a whole season that's gone for Texas. And so I made a whole thing about how I didn't like the BCS and everything. Well, now Texas is in it. And Texas has benefited because guess what? You can make this, there's a five-way tie right now with all the undefeated teams right now in the country. And Texas gets in. So people, and of course I'm excited Texas is in, and people are now telling me that I'm a hypocrite because they're saying that I now support the BCS system and that I love the system. I think it's the greatest thing ever and whatnot. My opinion hasn't changed one bit about the BCS and how it's flawed. Back in 2005, and I go back to this a lot, even when Texas and SC were the two undefeated teams in the country, and Texas got in, if you'd asked me, do you like the BCS, I'd say no. You need a playoff system. Now, it worked out, that was one of the rare seasons where you actually got two undefeated teams of everybody. But there's too much parity right now. And so, yeah, TCU, Cincinnati, Boise State, those teams aren't getting a chance, and they won all their games. Texas and Alabama are. And that's how it works out. And no, I think it is bull, that there should be a playoff system, that those teams should get a shot. And they're not going to get that. And I really think, and I think Stan pointed it out, and I think it's right. I do think that the BCS committee did a cop-out by putting in TCU and Boise State in the same bowl game. I really think they did that because of fear. And yeah, the fact that it may be a great game, that's beside the point. Everyone knows that could be a really good football game. But it's what that means. Because no matter who wins that game, you're not proving anything. And that's detriment to them and to the system. Because what it's saying is, yeah, we beat Boise State. Well, you beat another undefeated mid-major team, as they call them. Or you beat TCU. You beat a mid-major. You didn't beat one of the big dogs. Whereas you could put TCU playing Florida and, I don't know, have Boise State play Iowa or Georgia Tech. Iowa, but at least it'd be a big boy school and they get their chance to play against them. By playing each other, you just cancel one out without really elevating the same one. I think, and I really do, I think it's the BCS committee is worried that one or both of those teams would knock off a Florida or something like that and cause all these questions. They know that by putting them together, one of them's going to have to lose, and then the winner just gets a really big payout. Just take your check and leave and don't mess things up. That's messed up. And I was really looking forward to seeing them play against one of the top tier teams from one of the big conferences. And they're not going to get to do that. Now, Cincinnati, who's in the Big East, which a lot of people, and I've noticed on the ESPN and stuff, have forgotten that the Big East is a BCS conference, and they're going to play Florida, which I think that's a very intriguing game, and I want to see that. But yeah, Cincinnati, what can you ask them more to do? They won all their games, and this goes back to Auburn years ago when Auburn won all their games and was denied in spot with OU and USC going. So this is an entirely flawed system. And it makes it difficult when your team's in it. Now of course, now that the Longhorns are in it, and when that game's played, I won't care about the other teams. I have no desire to care about the other team. But I do care about this system, and I care about if Texas can pull this off, if Texas can win, you still have that nagging thing, just like Florida did last year, where you may get to hold the trophy, but you've got to listen to all the other teams with valid argument saying that, hey, we could have been there, and you didn't have to beat those teams. So, guys, don't get it twisted. I want a playoff system. I don't know how it should be set up. I don't know all the ins and outs because that's beyond me. But I do think that there are teams out there, more than just two, deserve to get a shot at it. But the way it's set up, Texas got it this year. And Texas, the thing is with Texas, we won our ball games. And we didn't lose a game. Last year you had a whole bunch of one-loss teams, and everybody was arguing about whose loss is worse than the other and how many points people scored. It kind of came down this year, and right or wrong, it came down to, coming into this year, Texas was the anointed team. If Texas runs the table, they're going, pretty much because of what happened last year, because there's a lot of sympathy, I guess you call it sympathy, from around the country, that Texas was screwed, or whatever you want to say, from last season. So I said, I was telling people from the get-go, I said, no matter what happens this year, if there's any kind of a tiebreaker or whatever involving Texas, Texas will get that leap because of what happened last year. Whether that's, once again, right or wrong, that's not the point. That's how it is. So, yeah, BCS, it sucks. It does make games, it does make the season interesting. I don't deny that. It makes it a lot of fun. But at the end of the year, there's too many unanswered questions. And in sports, us as fans, and even the teams, like to know who really is the best. I'm glad Texas is in the championship. I can't wait for that game. We got a long way. And Nick Saban and the Tide are going to be rough to beat. But I'll definitely be talking about that later. But I just want to get that out there, guys. No, I haven't changed one bit on my stance on the BCS. College football needs some sort of playoff system. Hook 'em horns.